I'm Nicola Much from the University of Aberdeen, and today we're here with Keith Neeves from the University of Colorado, Denver, and we're discussing his abstract, Micrometer-scale tPA-beads, amplify plasmin generation for enhanced thrombolytic therapy. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about your abstract. Firstly, what is the clinical gap in thrombolytic therapy that prompted you to explore bead-bound tPA?
Sure. So we know that intravenous tPA therapy recanalizes somewhere on the order of 20% of large vessel occlusions and carries somewhere between a 3 and 8% risk of intracerebral hemorrhage. So we hypothesize that concentrating tPA activity directly at the clot V, targeting with a bead coated with tPA, while also lowering its circulating levels, could improve efficacy and safety.
So why immobilize tPA on the micrometer scale beads rather than nanoparticle approaches, which have been pursued by others?
Yeah, so it turns out we developed a mathematical model to get an idea of what the rate of plasmin generation on a tPA particle would be for varying diameters, and found that there was a critical threshold somewhere on the order of 900 nanometers. So above this size, plasmin generation becomes diffusion limited rather than reaction limited, meaning that local plasmin can diffuse to and bind to adjacent fibrin fibers before being inhibited by antiplasmin. So 1 micron beads sit just on the favorable side of that threshold.
Oh, that's very interesting. So can you tell me how the beads perform in the mouse model of ischemic stroke?
Yeah, so we used a photothrombotic model in the middle cerebral artery of a mouse, and we found that a single 4.5 milliunit dose of 1 micron tPA beads could reestablish greater than 90% of pre-occlusion blood flow within 5 minutes, as we measured with a laser Doppler flow meter. Whereas if we used a 350 milliunit dose of free tPA, we could only get partial reperfusion in about 60% of the animals. And then we confirmed this looking at intravital microscopy and confirmed that these observations, in that we saw complete clot clearance and kind of an inside-out type of lysis pattern with the 1 micron beads, rather than the formation of small channels of lysis using the free tPA.
Okay, so we know that there are contraindications to performing thrombolytic therapy. So what's the potential safety advantages that can arise from using these bead-bound tPA?
Yeah, and this is kind of an exciting feature of this approach because the total systemic concentration of the tPA is about 100-fold lower than what we would need for free tPA. So we'd expect that reduces fibrinogen depletion and you'd have fewer off-target bleeding events. Moreover, the beads localize at the thrombus interface, and so that minimizes exposure to the intact vasculature. So whether these beads confer a safety advantage with respect to bleeding is something we're currently investigating.
So how do you see this platform integrating with current endovascular practice?
So because the beads are magnetic, they could be targeted and infused through standard catheters. So we could guide them to a thrombus and then drive them into its core and hold it in place with external magnetic fields. And this is actually something we've shown accelerates lysis, even in retracted or aged clots in previous studies using both in vitro and zebrafish models of thrombosis.
Great. Well, thank you, Keith, for sharing these really exciting findings with us, and we look forward to seeing the presentation at the ISTH. Thanks again for your time today.
Thanks for highlighting the abstract.